So guys, I'm gonna tell you about what is asynchronous in JavaScript. Okay, one by one I'm gonna explain you all. First theory, syntax, example and explanation wise, right? So in proper step by step I'm going to explain to you all about asynchronous JavaScript. Let's start. What is asynchronous JavaScript? Asynchronous JavaScript refers to the ability of JavaScript to execute code out of order, allowing non-blocking operation. This is particularly important when dealing with the task that might take some time to complete, like fetching data from an external server or reading a file. Asynchronous operation help prevent the entire program from being stalled while waiting for a single task to finish. That is all about asynchronous JavaScript. So, what is the syntax about? Syntax of asynchronous operation. Callback. Callbacks are a traditional way of handling asynchronous operation in JavaScript. A function is passed as an argument to another function, and that function is called when the asynchronous operation completes. Fetching function fetch data callback. Simulating an as asynchronous operation, example fetching data. Set timeout function constant data is equal to asynchronous data callback data 1000, right? Come, using the callback fetch data function result console.log result, that is a when we use when we're using the callback, right? So come to the answer. Promises. What is the promises? Promises provide a cleaner way to handle asynchronous operation. They represent a value that might be available now or in the future or never. Function fetch data. Return new promise function resolve comma reject. Simulating an asynchronous operation, example fetching data. Set timeout function const data is equal to asynchronous data resolve data, or reject error occurred uncomment to simulate an error 1000. It is code of this. Using the promises fetch data dot then function result console.log result, then curly bracket bracket close dot catch function error console dot error error. That is all about. We are learning about promises, right? Now I'm gonna tell you about asynchronous. Right? Asynchronous and wait. Asynchronous and wait is more recent addition to JavaScript, providing a more asynchronous looking way to write asynchronous code. It works on the top of promises, right? So asynchronous function fetch data, return new promises function resolve. Now there's a comment section, actually like the code and the comment section I wrote to make you understand why I wrote this code and what is the meaning of that, right? So the comment section simulating an asynchronous operation, example dot fetching data. Set timeout function constant data is equal to asynchronous data resolve data comma 1000. So using asynchronous wait and asynchronous function get data try, right? Then const result is equal to await fetch data console.log result catch error console.error error, right? So and get data. This is all about what is this? This is a syntax of asynchronous await, right? So in that way you have to write it. So when you're writing an asynchronous await. So now the explanation part. What is the explanation of callback, then promise, and then fetch? About the asynchronous await, I'm gonna tell you one by one what is the meaning of that, right? What is the meaning of callback, promises, and asynchronous wait? So the code which you wrote in the upper side, what they're doing, right? So callback, the fetch data function simulates an asynchronous operation using set timeout. When the operation is complete, it calls the provide callback function with the result. The callback is used to handle the result when it becomes available. Now come to the promise. The fetch data function return a promise representing the eventual completion or failure of the asynchronous operation. The then the dot then method is used to handle the successful completion of the promise, and dot catch is used for error handling. Now come to the downside, asynchronous and wait. The fetch data function return a promise, and asynchronous is used to define define an asynchronous function. Await is used within the get data function to wait for the completion of the promise written by fetch data. This make the code look more asynchronous. Error handling is done using a try catch block. So callback. What is a callback? Callback in JavaScript refer to functions that are passed as argument to other function and are executed later, usually after the completion of an asynchronous operations or to at a specific time. Callback are a fundamental concept in JavaScript, especially when dealing with the asynchronous code. How callback work, by the way? So, passing a function as an argument. In JavaScript, functions are a first class citizen, which means they can be treated as value. This allows you to pass function as arguments to other functions. Function fetch data callback, simulating an asynchronous operation. Example, fetching data. Set timeout function. Const data is equal to asynchronous data. Callback data 1000. C. Function process data result. Console.log process result. Using the callback fetch data process data. Executing the callback. The fetch data function take a callback function, process data as an argument. Inside the fetch data, after the simulated asynchronous operation is completed, example, data is fetched, it calls the provide callback data, passing the result as an argument. Now, handling the result, the process data function is then executed with the result when the asynchronous operation is complete. This way, you can handle the result of the asynchronous operation by defining a separate function callback that specify what to do with the data. Uses case. Asynchronous operation. Callback are commonly used to handle asynchronous operation such as fetching data from a server or reading a file. Event handling. In event-driven programming, callbacks are often used to handle events like button click or mouse movement. Timeout and interval. Callback functions are frequently used with set timeout and set interval to execute code after a specified delay or at a regular interval, right? So this is all about I told you, right, about event handling, timeout intervals, and user case of asynchronous operation, right? So now I'm gonna tell you about with example how you can write in code, right? Function fetch data callback simulating an asynchronous operation. Example like fetching data. It's the meaning of this. Now set timeout function const data is equal to asynchronous data callback null comma data. Is mean what is the meaning of that? Pass null as an array parameter, right? 1000. Function process result comma error bracket error comma result. If error console dot error comma error else console dot log process result comma result. So this is all about. Now I am using the callback fetch data process result, right? Now I'm gonna tell you about one by one what is happening in there, right? So in this example, what is happening in that example? So you can you can understand in better way, and you can use while you're writing when you're writing your own code. So if you understand this depth of this example, then you never get any problem while writing by your own. So in this example, the fetch data function now accept a callback with two parameters, error and result. The callback is called with null as the error parameter and the fetch data as the result. Right? Promise. Promise and JavaScript are a powerful mechanism for handling asynchronous operation. They provide a cleaner and more structured way to deal with asynchronous code compared to traditional callback. Promise represent the eventual completion or failure of an asynchronous operation and allow you to attach callback to handle the result or error when the operation complete. Basic structure of a promise. Const my promise equal to new promise function resolve comma reject asynchronous operation. Example fetching data set timeout function const success equal to true simulating a successful operations. If success resolve asynchronous data, else reject error occurred 1000, right? My promise. Now my promise dot then function result code to handle successful completion console.log result dot catch function error code to handle errors console 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 dot error bracket error, right? Now come to the explanation part of this code. Creating a promise. The promise constructor take a function with two parameters, resolve and reject. Resolve is a function used to fulfill the promise with the successful result. Reject is a function used to reject the promise with an error. Asynchronous operation inside the promise. There is an asynchronous operation fetching data simulated using set timeout. Handling success resolve. If the asynchronous operation is successful, the resolve function is called with the result. The trigger the execution of the dot then callback. Handling error reject. If there is an error during the operation, the reject function is called within the error message that trigger the execution of the catch callback. Chaining dot then and dot catch. After creating the promise, you can chain dot then and dot catch to handle the success or failure of the asynchronous operation. User case fetching data. Promises are commonly used when the fetching data from an API or making other asynchronous network requests. While operation when reading or writing file asynchronously, promise provide a structured way to handle result or error. Timeout and interval. Promise are often used with a set timeout and set interval for a synchronous timing operation. Handling multiple promises. Const promise 1 is equal to fetch data. Const promise 2 is equal to fetch more data. Promise dot all promise 1 comma promise 2 dot then function result code to handle the result of the both promises. Console.log all promise resolved comma result dot catch function error. It means code to handle error from any of the promises. Console.error error occurred comma error, right? Now the promise all method is used to wait for all the promise in an array to resolve. It return a new promise that resolve with the array of result when all the input promises have resolved or reject with the reason of the First promise, that reject. Now come to the asynchronous and wait. Asynchronous and await are a feature introduced in ACM script 2017 EC8 to simplify and enhance the readability of working with the asynchronous code in JavaScript. They built on top of the Promise API, providing a more synchronous looking syntax for handling asynchronous operation. Basic structure of asynchronous await. Asynchronous function fetch data, a return new promise function, resolve, reject. Simulating an asynchronous operation. Example, fetching data. Set timeout function cause success equal to true, simulating a successful operation. If success, resolve asynchronous data, else reject error occurred, 1000, right? Asynchronous function get data try const result equal to await function fetch data console.log result catch error console.error bracket error get data. Explanation now very important. Asynchronous function. Now I'm gonna tell you about whatever the code I told you about, right? So as per that, what is happening there, right? So step by step I'm gonna tell you in the depth, so you can understand in a very deep way, in a very easy way. I just divided all the section because first I just gave the example, then example also I divided in so many sections. So step by step every line I'm gonna explain you, right? So it will be for you with very easy, right, to understand. So you can never forget about that part. And now so start. Asynchronous function. The asynchronous keyword is used to define an asynchronous function. Any function marked as asynchronous will always return a promise, either resolved with the function return value or rejected with the error. Await keyword. The wait keyword is used inside an asynchronous function to pause the execution of the function until the promise is resolved. It can only be used within an asynchronous function. Handling success resolved. Inside the getData function, the wait keyword is used to wait for the completion of the fetchData promise. Once the promise is resolved, the result is assigned to the result variable. Assigned to the result variable, right? Handling error reject. If there is an error during the operation, example, a rejection of the promise, the catch block executed, allowing you to handle error in a clean and readable way. Use cases, fetching data. Asynchronous wait is commonly used when making API or other asynchronous operation to simplify the code. File operation, reading or writing a file asynchronously can benefit from asynchronous wait for cleaner error handling. Multiple asynchronous operation. Asynchronous await is particularly useful when dealing with a multiple asynchronous operation as it simplifies the code compared to using nested callback or chaining promises, right? Now handling multiple asynchronous operations. Asynchronous function fetch data, return new promises. Asynchronous function fetch more data, return new promise. Asynchronous function get all data, try. Const result 1 is equal to await fetch data, const result 2 is equal to await fetch more data, console.log all data fetch result 1 result 2 catch error, right? Console dot error occurred error, right? Get all data. In this example, get all data await for the completion of fetch data. Before starting fetch more data, the sequential execution make the code more readable compared to chaining promises. So, guys, I explain you all about asynchronous and wait. Then I explain you all, guys, multiple like asynchronous operation and handling and success await keyword asynchronous option thing. So this is all about the promises I told you about, and I told you about, right, callback, promises, and asynchronous wait. That three topic I covered in this in a very deep way. So the problem I divided in so many sections. Why I divided in so many sections? To understand that code in very deep and in very easy and with a proper syntax, right? So whenever you write your code by your own, so you will never get any problem on that. So you know about what is you doing, right? The thing, you know what developer keep in mind while writing the code, they should know first actually why they using that code there, and what is the reason behind it, and they need to know depth of that code, right, little bit. So then you can write very beautiful code, and you never forget that things also. So most of the time developer forgets some of the things, like if the problem is happening with the beginners level, okay, and sometimes with the experience also. So when you know about the depth of this asynchronous JavaScript, so you never forget. So just read it, right? So let's meet in the another video.